Hello, this is Irina from La La Land Crafts, and today I'm going to have a step-by-step video tutorial for you on how to make this gorgeous white and gold Christmas card. If you know me, you know that I love making white and gold cards in different designs every year, and making Christmas cards in white and gold is one of my favorite things to do, and this card is actually probably takes the top 3 of my all-time favorites that I've made throughout the years. So I wanted to take time and show you how I made this card. We're going to start with the card base, measuring 8.5 by 5.5, and it's folded in half at 5.5. I'm actually going to have all of the measurements of all of the layers listed in the video description below. So that will be easier for you for your reference. Then the next layer I have is this really pretty gold cardstock. And this cardstock is available on our website, so you can find the link in the video description as well. And this layer measures 5 by 5. And then following that, I have white cardstock, the same cardstock as the card base, and this is 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. I'm going to start with the inside of the card. That's what I usually do. Then following that, I have the die cut square using our double stitch squares die, and then the white cardstock layer to follow that to be on the inside. The first thing I'm going to do, and again, if you know me, if you follow me, you'll know that this is one of the things that I do on most of my cards. I'm going to use my scoring board. I'm using Score-Pal, and I'm going to create little frame around both of these layers. If you're right-handed like me, I find it easier lining up the paper to the right side, and then I'm going to use 1/8 of an inch measurement. I'm going to start about 1/8 of an inch from the top and stop about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom, and turn my paper and do this on all 4 sides to create really pretty frame that looks like it's been embossed. This is the detail that is really easy to do, but it adds so much to the card design. One more tip: if you run your hand over the space where you're going to do your embossing or using your scoring board, it will actually make your tool, I'm just using the bond folder, glide on the paper much easier with less friction. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these layers together. I'm using Tombow Mona permanent adhesive. This Christmas card is actually very easy to make, but it has such a wow effect. So I didn't want you guys to miss on this one this year. I know you most likely made most of your cards already. Hopefully you can make this one for somebody very special to you, or there's always next year, right? Okay, so inside of our card is done, other than embellishing with the die cut. So now to the fun part. Now we're going to work on this really pretty front panel. I'm starting again with my white layer, and that's the 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to emboss this line to create that focal point, square in the focal point. And again, I'm using the same die that was used for die cutting the inside center, the gold piece on the inside, and you'll notice that our dies, the double stitch square die, has the cut line on the inside and the stitch lines on both sides. And when we do embossing with it, it's actually going to emboss on both of three of these lines, and as well as the on the inside and outside of the square. This is really like one of my favorite techniques to do. So I have my cuttle bag here and my plates. Let me move it a little closer. And I'm using my A plate, 2 B plates, and I'm using a rubber mat. So I have my 1 B plate with the rubber mat on the bottom. Then I'm going to put my cardstock layer down and my die with the blade facing down, and I'm going to center it as much as I can, and then close it with my second B plate. And what's going to happen here, instead of cutting, because we have the rubber mat on the bottom there, the die is going to have the imprint on the paper. So when I pull it out, this is the pretty effect that I have. Isn't that awesome? This is just really, really amazing what you can do with your dies other than die cutting. So the next step here, I'm going to stamp the stars in the center. And for that, I'm using one of our background stamp sets. And this one is called Shining Star. It actually comes as a full set with coordinating stamps. I'm just cut it apart, and I'm only using the background stamp for this technique. I'm going to use blue painter's tape and mask outside edges of my paper, just leaving the center open. This is where I want my stamped image to appear. And I'm not pressing really hard into this tape. It's easy tack, but I just don't want to pull any of the paper, so I'm just lightly adhering it to the paper. Then I'm going to ink my stamp, and I'm inking it, as you can see, upside down, and I'm using Antique Linen Distress Oxide ink. I'm going to tap into my stamp. Now that my stamp is inked, I'm going to take my layer and I'm going to have it facing the paper. I'm simply going to put it down, and then I'm going to use just a piece of the scrap paper to cover it. So this way I can press into my stamp, and I'm not worried about getting my fingers inky or missing any parts of the stamp. So now you can see it kind of adhered to my scratch paper, but you can see how it's stamped perfectly. And I really love this color, Antique Linen. It matches the gold paper almost perfectly. So now when I pull my masking tape, you can see that I have the stamped image, background image, just on the inside of the square. Isn't it pretty already? So now I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to add my embossed frame with my scoring board all the way around this image. So now I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to go from the back side, and again at 1/8 of an inch here, all the way around. This is just gorgeous. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put it, glue it onto the gold cardstock. I'll post the link to all of the La La Land Crafts products that I'm using on this tutorial description, so it will be easy for you to find something if you need to add anything to your craft stash. So the next thing, I'm going to work on this postage stamp here. And postage stamp is one of our dies, and I have a little piece of paper to go in the center of it. Now before I glue it on, I'm going to do a few different things to it. First of all, I'm going to emboss it, but now I'm going to emboss with the stencil. So instead of the die, I'm going to use our stencil. And this one is from the stamp set called So Many Dots. It comes with the larger one and the smaller one as a set. And again, I have the same sandwich here. I have my A plate, B plate with the rubber mat. Then I'm going to put my little layer down and cover with the stencil. And our stencils are on the thicker side, so they do work for embossing as well. So once again, you can use our products in so many different ways to get more. Look at this. I love polka dots as it is, and this is just really, really pretty. And once again, I'm going to get my scoring board, put it embossed side down, and give it a little 1/8 of an inch frame all the way around. So this design is carried on through my card. So pretty. So now this layer goes onto the gold postage stamp. I can go ahead and adhere it to the card front, and I have it at a little angle here on the top right corner. Looks good. So the next thing, we're going to work on our moon. And as you can see, I have a die cut from one piece from chipboard and one piece from the gold cardstock. And to make all these little pieces to stay in the chipboard piece, I ran it through my die cutting machine just once, and because of the thickness of the chipboard, the little pieces are staying in nicely. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use acrylic paint in gold, metallic gold, and the brand I'm using is Basics, but it really doesn't matter. You can find gold acrylic paint in any craft store in the art section, I guess. And I'm simply using my finger, and I like using finger versus brush for this technique because we really need just a tiny bit of the paint. And with the brush, it seems, at least for me, that I tend to use too much. And by using my finger, I just give it really light coverage and keeping all of the detail, all of the pretty detail intact. And I really like how gold paint absorbs into the chipboard, and it gives really nice vintage-like effect. So the next step, we're going to, well, actually I'm going to set it aside and let this dry just a little bit more before I glue it on. So I'm going to keep on working on my card. So this is the other die that I'm using on this card, and this one is called Star Wreath, and it comes as a set of two. This is the larger one, and then it comes with the smaller one as well. I'm going to use glue by Art Glitter, the one that's named Dries Clear. There's one that's also dries white, so I prefer using one that dries clear. And I'm going to glue my star wreath onto the panel here. This star wreath is one of my favorites from our latest release. So I'm just positioning it here. It's so pretty. Then while I'm still waiting for my moon to dry, I'm going to go ahead and glue two of these layers together. And this is our winter heel, and I have a die cut from chipboard and from the white cardstock, and I'm going to layer them together. I wasn't worried here how much to lining them up, and you can see mine are different. They're not full border on one or another. They're only going to be peeking from behind the moon. So all I need to do is glue them together on the part where the little house is. And the little trees. Going to line it up. Then when I glue it behind my moon, then I'll trim it down to match the moon shape. You can see how our dies cut really clean through the chipboard. All of our products are made in US, and you get quality stamps and dies that will work for you year after year. So I'm going to, I think my moon is ready now. I'm just poking little pieces out of the moon here. Okay, now I can go ahead and glue this on. I actually have a personal goal to make the videos every day starting today for 10 days. So we'll see how it goes. I hope you guys can watch this and give me a thumbs up to support me, to see that you want to see more videos. I have so many projects that I designed this year, and I haven't been doing that many videos, so I really don't want to miss out. I don't want to keep them to myself, even though we had them in different, we used the projects in different events, but I really want to do the videos as well for those of you who are not able to attend or who weren't able to attend our events. Okay, so as you can see, I glued two of these moons together, and I really love the effect of the one from the chipboard that painted with the gold paint peeking through it. It's just really nice effect. And now I'm going to glue my winter heel behind. And so what I'm doing here, I'm aligning this part of the moon with the side of the heel and just choosing what part of the heel I want to show. And I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive on the back here. I love the serenity of this card. I called it Silent Night. This is what it looks like to me. I got a little bit of the glue here, but good thing it dries clear. Here you go. So now I can go ahead and cut off the heel to match the moon part. Isn't this the most gorgeous embellishment? I really, seriously, I really love it. Did I say really? Okay, so this is gonna go here, and behind it, one more thing, we're going to use the poinsettia wreath, and we're going to cut it off. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 large flowers, so I'm gonna keep 3 of the large flowers on one part. And I'm going to glue it on the bottom left corner here, so it's peeking from behind the moon. Going to arrange it to the side, glue it down. And now to put my moon on, I'm going to glue it behind where my houses are, or my house with the hill, but I'm going to put a little bit of the foam tape on the rest of the moon to make sure it's even. So I'm going to cut some pieces of foam here. I love using tape versus the pop-up dots because I can cut to whatever thickness I need for my project. So that looks pretty good. And I'm going to put, well, remove the backing first, and then put glue on the rest right here. So on the trees and the rest of the hill, my little houses, or house, why do I call houses house? Just one. Here you go. And now the only thing that I need to keep in mind where I put this down, that I want my heel to be straight, I don't want it to be sideways. So I'm going to align it on my card and put it down. So pretty. So the rest of my wreath, the poinsettia wreath, I'm going to put on the inside of the card. I like adding little elements, bringing little elements from the card front to the inside. So here's our card, and you can position wherever you like it. I think on this card, well, on this card I have it on the top here. On this card, I think I'm going to put it to the corner. Just really, really pretty. And now to put my card front onto the card, I'm going to use foam tape, and this is 3mm foam tape. I'm going to cut it to the size. So I'm cutting it just a little bit smaller than my card or my layer to make sure it doesn't stick out from the edges. And then I find it's a little troublesome putting adhesive on the foam, so instead I'm going to put adhesive on my layer. And then press foam into it instead, like this. So now it's ready to go on my card. I'm going to make sure I open my card, see which way my card front is going to go on. And again, I'm going to put adhesive on my cardstock. Instead of the foam, I find it much easier. And here it is. As you can see, very fast to make, but has really a wow effect. I hope you enjoyed the videos. I hope I can stick with it and make more for you, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. I'll add all of the links to our products on the video description, or you can go directly onto our website at lalalandcrafts.com, and you can find these products and more. I'll post the measurements to all of the layers on the video description as well. Till next time, bye.